Good morning. Good morning. All right, the record button has been hit. I want to introduce you to Victoria Starks. She is checking us out this morning. She has joined the Market Center. She's been with us for about a week or so, right?
2, yeah.
2 weeks. And she is starting to feel the overwhelm like all of us either have felt or are still currently feeling. And we got a lot of people here that will prove to you that it gets a little less overwhelming every day, even if it's just this much less overwhelming, right?
I can attest to that.
All right, beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Sorry for letting the group started soon. Waiting. All right. Looks like everyone is. I don't see anyone else in the waiting room. Come on.
Corey is, I think.
Yeah, it looked like she was, but I don't see her here. I just told her to come in. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm gonna I'll do a little bit of housekeeping at the beginning, but today I want you guys to do the role play. So I'll come up with a good topic, or you guys could come up with a good topic. But today I'm not going to be the role player. I'm going to have you guys be the role player. Sound fair? We're here to learn. So if you're terrible the first time, it's cool. We're going to help you figure out how to be better the next time. Okay. And I'm sure if all you're simply doing is reading it off the page, you're not going to be terrible. Okay. All right, who wants to share some positive news? Who's experiencing some cool stuff?
Well, I'll share. I did my
Donna.
home buyer seminar on Wednesday night. I had a pretty good turnout. I had 13 people on, including me and the lender. Some of those were my family, but I had 6 people who are potential leads. And 2 of them are out of state, so those might be referrals. But I have a new lender that I did the seminar with, and he's excited about it, wants to do it again in January. So I feel like I could have did a better job with my marketing. I started a little too late. So I'm going to give it another shot in January and just start with marketing, a week or 10 days sooner. I kind of did it a little late, but I was happy with the turnout. My presentation was a little long. I used the KW presentation, the PowerPoint.
Okay.
So I need to maybe tamp it down a little bit because it ran about 2 hours, which I was surprised everybody stayed, but they all said it was great information. So I want to get it down to an hour.
Yeah, a 2-hour buyer presentation is a lot. Ooh.
It is, but we had a lot of information.
That would have tested my every nerve to be respectful.
I know, but I had gift cards at the end, so maybe that helped with keeping people on.
So were the 6 people, were those people that were in your sphere, in your network, or total strangers?
Let's see. 2 of them were in my sphere, and the other 4 were like referrals from other people.
That is phenomenal, Donna.
I thought it was good. I was happy with it. And I have handouts to send to them. So I'm adding more value. I'm going to send to them by email. I'm sending out my thank you cards today for their attendance. Because of course, when I set up my Zoom, I set up the registration and I got their mailing address, their phone number, I also asked them to give me 2 questions that they'd like to have answered during the seminar.
Oh, that's
so
a
that
great idea.
If we didn't cover it, then I have a reason to kind of follow up with them and ask them if they had their questions answered, and I can send them more info. I had a couple of people that were interested in USDA, so I'm going to send them information on that. So overall, it was good. I'm thinking maybe I can, and you might have mentioned this before, break it up into 2, one on the steps of the home buying process and one on the financing piece, because I think the financing topic took a big chunk of time.
So was your part 2 hours and then it was the lender's part?
No, together.
Okay, good.
So he was kind of in the middle. Pre-approval was my second step. So he talked about the pre-approval process and different types of loans and what not to do, so that you don't screw up before you get to closing. So all
Yeah,
of
like
that,
lease a
people had
car
questions.
or get a new credit card from Kohl's to save like $4.
Yeah, so we talked about all of that kind of in the middle. Excuse me, I feel like that could have been a topic by itself. So
Cool. Hey, the more you do it, the better you'll get. And the first step is to commit to it, right? The second step is to do all the marketing and to show up and to get all the other vendors and to practice. So that's no small feat, Donna. Great job. Great
like
job.
you said, it's at bats. So I felt like it was another at bat. This was my second one and I did better. And I feel even more confident going forward.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Who else? Andrew, you got a good call, a good result yesterday from your calling, didn't you?
Oh my God, I did. This
Tell us about
Mojo
that.
thing. Well, yeah, it's the Mojo triple dialer thing that we've been talking about. Honestly, if you haven't tried it, come in here to the office one day. Go in and hang out with Paul, because we're all hanging out with Paul anyways. It's like 5 of us now. And Paul will show you all it is. It's just calling one person after another. You're saying the same thing. And if you mess up, everyone laughs and you laugh at them back. And it's pretty fun. It gives you a lot of energy. But yeah, I started calling people yesterday. I called, like, I swear to God, I didn't even call that many people. Like, I think I went through about 44 calls and only about 10 of the people answered. And out of those 10 people, one of those people wants to buy a home. Another person wants to sell their $600,000 home in Town Lake, Woodstock, in this spring after he's done fixing it up. So I'm like, dude, and like neither one of them even had an agent. So I'm gonna be working with probably both of them.
Yeah.
That was just yesterday. That was just one day.
Good job.
That is fantastic.
Awesome, Andrew.
If you ask the people for an opportunity, they give you an opportunity. Guys, remember, NAR comes out with these stats every year, okay? Let me tell you 2 crazy stats. I can't believe them, but every year they're pretty much exactly the same. Okay, the first stat, phenomenal job, Andrew. You're like a whole different person this week, and I am so grateful for everything.
Thank you, young grasshopper.
So NAR says that 70% of home buyers will only interview one agent. Okay. It's like 73 or 74% of home sellers will only interview one agent. Okay. And then when you go up to the I will interview 2 agents or 2 or less agents, it's over 90% for buyers and sellers. You are not going to be going up against the best of the best every time. You're simply not. The statistics prove that year after year after year. If you are the agent that gets in their presence and you prove yourself to be a valuable partner, right? And a person that's going to come from contribution and really guide this person to make the best decision for them and their family, over 70% of the time, they're not going to even consider interviewing anyone else. Okay. And over 90% of the time, you just have to beat one person. Okay. So that just proves the fact that if you get in front of them and you make your pitch and you ask the right questions, it's almost a slam dunk. You're going to get the business. Okay. When they ask 100 consumers, basically, do you have a relationship with a real estate agent that you would either strongly use in the future or most likely use in the future? It's over 90%. It's 91% of consumers say they do. When they asked if they did use that agent in their last transaction, only 9% did. So what does that tell you? That tells you even if, so forget about the people that don't have a relationship like the ones Andrew was just talking about. Okay, those are free for the taking. But even if they do have a relationship with an agent, 9% of the time, they're going to use it, which means the other 91% of the time, they just need to have a better relationship with you, right? Or a deeper relationship with you. Now, we don't cross signs, right? If they've signed something, we don't get in the way of that. But if they say, yeah, my friend's a realtor, that doesn't necessarily mean the conversation's over, right? If you offer something like a neighborhood nurture or the mobile app, or you ask a question that really gets their mind thinking and they agree to have some form of future communication, you could outwork that other agent. You could out impress that other agent. And without saying a single negative thing about anything, you could win that. Does that make sense?
Bill, also, I don't believe in doing business with friends like that. I wouldn't hire a friend to sell my house, because that could make the friendship go south very quickly if you weren't satisfied with their, with their productivity. I would pick friendship, is to me is more important. I would probably interview and hire someone that I didn't know.
Well, and look, it's important that we internalize that, okay? Because if you have a friend that elects to use a different real estate agent, because you feel the way you feel personally, you would say, yeah, I get it. She doesn't, friendship first, right? And that wouldn't bother you. But for most people, I would say that's not very common. I would say that, like, I used to take great personal offense to it, okay? I almost don't care at all right now. But at the beginning, I took incredible offense to it. And quite frankly, it ruined a number of friendships anyway, okay? And I could probably go back and try to repair those, and most of them were my fault to begin with. But the idea is that some people do feel that way. And if they're not, and you have to be okay with that. You have to make that a valid feeling. You have to acknowledge and validate it, right? We talked about acknowledging and validating a week or so ago, right? You have to give that credence. However, you could say something like, I totally understand. I feel the exact same way. However, I need you to understand one other thing. The average real estate agent in Metro Atlanta sells 2.5 homes a year. And if somebody sells 2.5 homes a year, let's make a quick generalization of them. They're not making enough money by selling homes for that to be their only job, which means now they're distracted by some other type of job, which prevents them from devouring the marketplace and participating in the marketplace constantly, like me, right? Or like somebody I could refer you to. So I just want to make sure that you're not going to like go to the yellow pages or the internet to find your next agent. Let me help you, right? Maybe they'd be open to that. And that way you can still get a small piece of the pie. And you can make sure that that person, of course, gets a good partner to work with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and something else too, Bill, is I've had so many of my friends that I've seen that know I'm a realtor, but have gone and bought a house or something like that completely without me. And I know what you're saying. You almost feel offended. You're like, really? You knew I was a real estate agent? But, at the same time, it's like, did I reach out to that person and keep in touch with them? Not really. So
well, and that's honestly, that's only a part of the, well, I'm glad you're getting there. And
yeah,
most of us aren't always there. It's a gradual process. But it's not only about, checking in every once in a while or, seeing them at the bar or something, right? It's about providing real estate specific information that's valuable to them when they need it, right? So I learned, I forget who finally caused me to, I think it was Gene Rivers, kind of finally caused me to think about this a little bit differently. And I said, I don't know if I earned that business. And so if I didn't get it, I'm okay because I didn't earn it. Now the question is there a possibility that I could earn it in the future? So I don't see any problem. I think most of the time when you have a friendship, a pretty solid friendship, and somebody does something to bother the other person, if you ignore it, the friendship deteriorates. If you acknowledge it and you say, hey, Michael, can I share something with you? You said something the other day, it really offended me. Can we just have a conversation about that real fast, right? And once we're done with the conversation, it's almost like the relationship is better, right? Because you understand each other's sensitivities and needs better, and you can support each other better. So nothing would stop you, Andrew, from saying, hey, I get it. I've got to assume that the reason why you use that person is because you had a great relationship with them, and because I probably didn't come anywhere close to providing you the value that you deserve when you're going to determine who the agent's going to be that you're going to partner with. So in the future, can I ask you a question? Is there anything that I can do to support your real estate goals that I maybe didn't support at the beginning. How would you like me to communicate with you from a professional standpoint? Is there anything that you'd like to know or hear or be updated on that might be really relevant for you, so that maybe in the future we could work together? And I think they'd say, wow, that's a really mature reaction, Andrew, right? I think that's a really that's a really cool way of, not being pissed, right? And it shows that you're a learning-based agent who takes their work seriously, who genuinely wants them to be happy and successful, and who's respectful of relationships that people have. I mean, literally, like there's a joke that they say when you're born, they give you a birth certificate and 3 friends that have real estate licenses, right? Everybody knows a realtor. Everybody knows multiple realtors, right? The question is not like, oh, I deserved that gig because I went to elementary school with them. No, you deserve the gig when you provide the right information to the person when they need it consistently. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kathy, you've probably had some friends work with somebody else, right? We were just talking about that yesterday.
Oh yeah, one of my neighbors worked with Jenny Vereen, which Jenny Vereen is my KW baby, and when I didn't even know the house went on the market, my son came home from college, came in the house and goes, "What the heck is Miss Jenny sign doing in the Carol's yard?" And I was like, "What?" I had been talking to her for 2 years about when she was going to put her house on the market, but Jenny was also her friend. So, but she was my neighbor. So I did get my feelings hurt, but I got over it.
Yeah, look,
And I still got paid. So
yeah, through profit share, right?
Jenny won and I won.
It's cool. Life is just so much better when you get excited when people win, right? There's enough winning to be had for everybody. Look, there's like millions of houses, guys. Like there's way more houses out there that need to be bought and sold for all of us to accomplish our goals, triple our goals, 10x our goals, right? Andrew, doesn't it feel good when like you're sitting next to Tawantis and she books an appointment? Like in a crazy way, that feels good, doesn't it?
Well, this group here is so it's like, everybody's kind of a cheerleader for you, because during the call, you're like, yeah, and I don't know, it's just so full of energy in here. It's hard to fall asleep, I guess, if you wanted to. Like, yeah, it's really a good thing, I guess. I mean, what do you think, Rose?
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I'll be on a call and I've got Andrew and Paul and Michaela behind me all going like, yes. Or, every time somebody gets like a good lead or an appointment, everybody starts clapping. Like, it really is a lot of energy here.
I love that, you guys. There's coronavirus has been obviously a horrible thing, and there's so many things that we miss out on by not being around each other all the time. And that's one thing that we've honestly had a little bit of a hard time with over the last handful of months in productivity coaching. And that's something that we've had a good bit in the past, is this kind of teamwork and camaraderie. And I'm loving watching this happen. This is fantastic. So
yeah, and just like to add to that too is, I couldn't really get the motivation to do this kind of stuff at home, and I didn't even really know where to start or what to say, really.
Yeah.
But being here in the office, like, you're just learning something every day, and I'm way more productive in the office. I'm figuring out, because when I started here, the whole COVID thing happened, and now it's kind of relaxing a little bit. So it's more we can, I don't know, I'm just getting more stuff done being at the office.
beautiful. All right, Andrew, you want to role play with me?
Sure.
All right, who do you want to what kind of scenario do you want to circle prospect? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll do circle prospecting. That's fine.
Okay, so just to remind everyone, circle prospecting is essentially a list of about as cold, they're not even leads, they're just people. Okay, they've expressed no interest in a real estate transaction, that we don't know if they are having a good day or a bad day. They have not raised their hand in any way. These are just basically a list of people that live at a particular address. And the goal is to, Andrew, you tell me if this is kind of your goal in your mind when you're making the calls. The goal is just to have great conversations and get agreement for a future conversation or future communication. And he'll have some questions that will kind of be asked to help him better understand my
Got
circumstances.
him right here.
Right. And when there may be a value point that he can deliver value to me. And let's see how it goes. So these are, again, these are probably going to be people that go into the database, that might go onto the pipeline, or that might be, completely eliminated. Hey, I'm a realtor, or hey, I'm married to a realtor. Okay. All right. Ring, ring.
Hey,
Or I guess that's my job. Hello.
Hey, Bill.
Yep, this is Bill.
Hey, Bill. This is. Hold on. Sorry. Restart.
Ring, ring. Hello.
Hey, Bill. This is Andrew Brooks with Keller Williams Realty. How are you? How are you? This awesome morning.
I'm good, Andrew. What's going on?
Great, man. I'm phenomenal. Well, all right. So I don't want to take up too much of your time today, but a house right up the street from yours just sold, and I guess I was just wondering if there was anything that I could do for you today.
No, I think I'm pretty good. We actually just bought a house, so we're
Great. You just
we're
bought a
pretty
house.
happy.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Well, is there an agent in the area that you might work with if you did in the future decide to buy or sell something?
It's funny you ask, Andrew. I actually didn't really have that great of an experience with the agent that I was working with. So
really?
I guess I know one that I don't want to work with, but I don't know one that I might want to work with.
Oh, okay, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, when that day does come that you do decide to sell or buy or whatever, I would love just the opportunity to work with you. Say, could I maybe give you a call in say 6 months from now and stay in touch and see where you're at then?
Yeah, sure. You seem like a nice guy. I guess we could do that. You're not
Great.
gonna send me 4 emails a week or anything, are you?
No, absolutely not. Okay, so is this your cell phone number?
This is my cell, yes.
All right, cool. This is your cell. And what would be a good email that I could reach you at?
Bill@kw.com.
All right, cool. Well, Bill, thank you so much again. This is Andrew Brooks with Keller Williams Realty, and it was really nice to talk to you. If you need anything, please reach out, and I'll shoot you a text with my digital business card. So if you do need something in the future, you can just give me a call.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, I have a lot of people I work with, so there might be somebody that talks about buying. I'll keep you in mind. I appreciate the call, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill. Have an awesome day.
All right. See,
And that's literally all it is. And I mean, look at me, I'm stumbling all over the place, but it still works,
I get it, Andrew. I almost couldn't. I was fighting the whole time because every time I've ever done role play with anyone, no one has actually picked up their phone. That was awesome. That was awesome. Okay, let's do one more. I was gonna bring up. I can share my screen if you guys want a hint at. Hang on one sec. All right. All right, so remember, this is the group of questions that's called 3 Asks that we learned in Bold the other day. And actually, Andrew mostly got I mean, he wasn't following this script per se, which is fine, but he did ask a couple of these questions. So if somebody wants to look at this, right, number 1, have you or your family thought about making a move recently? Do you know of anyone, any neighbors or somebody from church or work that we could help with their real estate needs? And when you think of real estate, who do you trust? I wanted to know if I could have the right to earn that relationship, right? Would it be okay if I stayed in touch with you periodically? That's pretty much exactly what Andrew said. Let you know what's going on in the neighborhood and the market. And if you need anything, I'd be here for you, right? Not pushy at all. One thing that I do want to remark about what Andrew did, which is a lot of people might not notice this, but I was able to notice it. He said, you know, a house right around the corner from you just sold, and I wanted to know if there was anything I could help you with. Those two things are completely separated. There's no reason why those two things should be together in the same sentence. And if Andrew didn't have anything to do with that sale, he still talked about it, right? So a house just sold in the neighborhood, instinctively, the person who lives nearby would say, was that the Smith's house? Oh, that house finally went under contract. Oh, is that the 3-bedroom? I wonder what it sold for, right? So naturally, I want to stay in that conversation. And then as I'm having that emotional reaction, he then says, how can I help you? It's like a hug almost. You see what I'm saying? So even though the two things aren't really connected at all, the psychology of putting those two things together is really, really smart. Does that make sense? Great job. Okay, who wants to do one?
Bill, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On that sentence, I have to say, the one that you just referenced, that it struck me as odd. And I wondered if there was a way, like, you're right, they're not connected, and yet they were connected with a conjunction. So, like, what does that house have to do with you wanting to help me? Is there a way to like segue or connect those two things with your words? Because I did, my head tilted a little bit, like, why do I need help just because a house around the corner sold? So, and I, y'all know I'm the pessimist in the group. So I just kind of wondered if there's a way to mesh those better together.
You're the devil's advocate. You're not the pessimist.
I'm the devil's advocate then, yes.
I think, let me answer that question two ways. The first is, you're taking a bit of a logical approach to it when it's not really a logical topic. And sometimes that will make it lose what it does subconsciously. Okay. But part of me would say, you don't need to even worry about that. Just say the script. Okay. The other part might say, like, if you just cannot do that for some reason, right, and you need it to sound more connected, then you might say something like, hey, Andrew, this is Bill Link, or hey, Greta, this is Bill Linkwald with Keller Williams. There's a home that just sold around the corner from you in your neighborhood. And what we know in the market is when one home sells, there's usually at least 2 neighbors that are thinking about selling too. And when that home sells, it's going to have an impact on your equity. So I wanted to do my job today by calling you and giving you an update on what's going on in your neighborhood. Is there anything I can do today that would be helpful? Right? So you can add in a couple of kind of things to connect it. So like a house sells affects your equity, right? Or a house sells might give an idea, might give the push somebody needs for a neighbor to say, oh yeah, well gosh, that house sold for $350. I don't think there's ever been a house in the neighborhood to sell for $350. Guess it's time to list mine. You know what I'm saying?
Bill,
So,
can I chime in? For a second?
yeah.
I will say that out of like the hundreds of people that I've talked to on the phone now over the last month, I've only had one person ask me, what does that have to do with me? And then, and she, like, some people just, they just answer, it's morning time, they answer the phone and they probably woke up on the wrong side of the bed. They're like, what does that have to do with me? And I'm like, well, I'm just calling to see if there's anything I can do to help. And yeah, you're like, they have nothing to do with each other. But when you say like a house sold right up the road from you, and I'm just calling to see if there's anything I can do to help you today with buying or selling real estate, then now like all they're thinking about is I'm just calling to help them. And then there are people that ask like, oh, well, yeah, I saw that home and it sold for like blah blah blah, or they'll say, oh, what did it sell for, or something like that. But yeah, I've only had like one person actually say like, well, what does that have to do with me?
I'm glad you pointed that out. Like I was saying, I don't think that's going to be a common question. Yet here are the two connection pieces. Number one is when somebody sells, okay, it's going to affect the equity position of all of the homeowners nearby. That's the first piece. So that could be your immediate reaction. Hey, this home sold for, I could share the details with you, and that's probably going to have an impact on your equity position. So as a local real estate agent, I'm reaching out to some of these neighbors, some of these local homeowners to see if this change in their equity position would be beneficial to them. Does that change any of their goals? Right? So that could be the segue right there. The other segue could be what I said a second ago, which is when one house sells, right, it's proof that the market is responding and there's probably a lot of interest in this neighborhood. So I wanted to, we've got a lot of buyers out there. The inventory is at record low levels. I just wanted to see if there was anything I could do to help, right? If you had any questions, right? Do you want to know what the home sold for? Like, there's probably extra buyers that we have a very, very hot market. Nearly half of properties are selling with multiple offers, meaning there's people that wanted to live in that neighborhood and didn't win. So they're hoping and praying that another home will come up. And I didn't know if you might be that person.
Yeah. And most of the time they're going to say no. Like 99% of the time they're going to say no, which is fine. You ask, like, by the end of the call, you're going to say something like, you're going to ask them if there is an agent that they would use if they ever did anything. And then by the end of the call, you're going to be like, well, if you ever need anything, this is my cell phone number. Would it be okay if I stayed in touch? And then they say yes.
Yeah.
And that's what you're looking for. Then you're going to call them every single month until they do give you business.
Right. Until they refer something, which of course, then they'll still get the call every month because now they're one of your biggest fans. Yeah. They do business and they're going to get a call pretty frequently because they're a past client or they die. And when you see their obituary, then you can take them out of the database.
And the MREA says, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think it was like for every 2,500 cold leads that you have in your database, then it should equal out to like 50 transactions or something like that.
Yeah, so it's 50 to 1.
50 to 1?
Yeah, so it's actually exactly what you said.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so I did remember.
That's a not met. So a not met would be like farming, which is basically what you're doing just on the telephone. Yeah. So if you have 50 not mets in your database, that should end up with 1 sale a year. And MREA, the first one said 12 to 2 on mets, which is for every 12 contacts, you'd have 2 transactions. The research now is a little bit different. It says for every 10 mets in your database, you would have 1 transaction. So that means, I've told you this before, we'll end on this note. Guys, if the average commission check is $10,000, okay, which is actually fairly conservative in this market. So the average check is $10,000. If you have 10 people in your database that are mets that you are communicating with systematically, then you'll have 1 close per year. That means every person that you stick in your database is worth $1,000. Go talk to people.
Yeah, and so the numbers that we figured out, because I set my goals. I set my goal number for 140,000 for the year, and pretty much what that came out to was, well, it's not for sure because we haven't seen it in action with me yet, but kind of guesstimating was 1 hour to get 15 contacts. 15 contacts equals 1 lead. 3 leads equals 1 appointment. 3 appointments equals 1 listing. 2 listings equals 1 sold. So pretty much 18 hours of calling equals $10,000. So because
hourly on that,
average home, you'd make about $10,000 off of it.
That's $555 an hour.
Yeah, that's a lot of money an hour.
And you're laughing just about the whole time.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
laughing and just giggling like all day, every day. It's pretty.
So, and honestly, there's a, I have to hear those numbers. I have to look at them, but there's a couple of separations where I thought was very conservative, like 3 listing appointments and getting 1. You should be better than that. So
Yeah.
that's conservative, you guys. That's really conservative, actually. That is, you know, in a lot of our private sessions, we've been talking about you to get somewhere between 7 and 8 contacts an hour. And that's because you're solo dialing, you know, manual dialing, and you might have a little bit longer conversations because you're talking to people that you're in more of a relationship with, right? Andrew just doubled that number because he's got 3 numbers going at once, and more of those conversations are with strangers, so they're going to tend to be a little shorter. That's where that difference came in. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys make me so proud. I'm so glad to be in business with you. And don't forget, today at 12 o'clock, we're going to get to know Susan Corley, who is one of our top producers. And I know we've been talking a lot about cold calling today, but she built her business the exact opposite way. Okay, I don't think she's ever called a FSBO or an expired her entire life. And you know what? She's got an incredible business. She has been in leadership. She was the assistant team leader when I was PL, and she's one of our agent mentors now. So we're going to get to know her from 12 to 1, and then our launch mastermind will be from 1 to 2. And I'm prepared to talk about whatever you guys want. And if no one comes up with any ideas, we'll talk about contracts. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your day. Thanks, Andrew, Rose.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks all.
Thanks, Bill.